So for more, I'd like to welcome in Democratic strategist and former New York State Senator David Carlucci. David, great to see you again. So we saw some footage there from some of the protests. The president responded on social media. He posted that AI-generated video is getting a lot of buzz. It features himself wearing a crown in a fighter jet. I think we have video. Here we go, of that.
Please.
He appears to drop sewage waste on protesters. He was also asked about the No Kings rallies across the country. I'd like to play part of what he said.
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country. I'm not a king. I work my off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
All right, David. So certainly a lot of reaction coming to that AI video, but this was really the largest display of defiance since the president took office. Any indication on where this goes from here? I mean, are Democrats working to capitalize on this? I mean, considering that midterms at this point are a year away.
Yes, midterms are a year away, but we have elections around the country in just 2 weeks from tomorrow in much of the states. We have Virginia, we have New Jersey, and then we have municipal elections here in New York State, as well as many other places. And I think this is where we can see that canary in the coal mine. I think traditionally these types of elections have been pretty lackluster. There's not been a lot of excitement. But this year, I think what we see is this translation of people wanting to do something, wanting to send a message. And 7 million people came out to protest peacefully. And to hear Donald Trump say that there wasn't much of a showing, he just obviously is not tuning in and seeing what's happening. The fact many are saying this is one of the largest protests in American history. And so I think that the Republicans, and Donald Trump chief among them, are overplaying their cards when they are not paying attention to what people are saying. They're concerned. And yes, maybe he's not wearing a crown today, but many of the actions that the Trump administration is taking really would have our founding fathers spinning in their graves.
All right, so David, let's talk about how much Republicans are or are not paying attention to this. So on the other side, we've certainly seen, pro-life rallies, we've seen certain religious marches, Tea Party marches, but Republicans are calling these No Kings rallies anti-American. I'd like to play part of what the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, said just earlier today.
America is built on the idea of free speech. You have the right to protest. Of course, we jealously guard that. I mean, Chip and I are attorneys. We've defended that right in the courts. But what they're doing right now is different. They are trying to incite violence. Congratulations, they didn't burn any buildings down. That's a big achievement for the left, to have some kind of gathering where they don't have a looting and riots and burn a building down. There was, I think, some in Portland. They threw bottles and bricks and stuff at the ICE facility because that's what they do for fun now out there. But they had a free speech event. Congratulations. But you need to look past that and look at what it is they're advocating for openly, and it's really scary stuff.
All right, so behind the scenes, David, I mean, do you think Republicans are actually concerned, especially as, in the middle of these protests, we also have this federal government shutdown that certainly right now is showing no signs of ending anytime soon, no budging on either side?
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, look at the comments from the speaker. They had absolutely no substance whatsoever. He's somehow trying to portray these peaceful protests as un-American, but couldn't point to one substantial reason why he could realistically say that. And that's extremely problematic. Trying to just blame someone and take out of context the situation of this magnitude is really appalling. And that's what you see Donald Trump doing. That's what you see the speaker doing. Trying to take one little example and blow it way out of proportion. So I think the Republicans are concerned. You can definitely see that they're stopping that narrative of talking about Democrats wanting to fund illegal aliens' health care because that's just been totally debunked. And now Donald Trump's just trying to play it off and say that he's not going to negotiate with Democrats. And that's a real problem that I think most of America sees. They're saying, look, there is another branch of government. It's Congress, and you should work with Congress to get things done when they are difficult. But I think the health care issue is exposing Republicans because Donald Trump has, for a long time, said he has some plan of health care. He just won't tell us what it is. And I think the American people really want to know, particularly members of Congress, and that's why they can't just continue to sweep this under the rug for politicians in Congress and the American people.
All right. And certainly, we know many Americans are frustrated. Many Americans still fully support the president. These protesters saying, they were fueled in part by these sweeping cuts in the federal government, the president's crackdown on immigration, his decision to send the National Guard into some Democrat-led cities. I'd like to play part of what we heard over the weekend from protesters.
It's about uniting everyone across the political spectrum for this common cause of standing up against injustice and tyranny. I think that's really what America is all about.
Not being here wasn't an option for me. I'm old enough to remember the Vietnam protests, the Watergate protests, and I know the power that Americans have to determine what happens in this country. That we're heading in the wrong direction now, and we have the power to take it back, and we will.
I'm an aunt and great aunt, and I'm completely against the fascist way that the country is going. And I sent the idea to a friend of mine, and she made the shirts for us, and we just decided this is what we needed to do today.
We love America. We want America to be the best country that it can be, and we are here to say that.
And we know certainly many of these organizers obviously, are on the Democrat side of the aisle. But we heard the message there from protesters, but by focusing so heavily on President Trump, is the Democratic Party missing a chance to try to sort of carve out its own message?
Yeah, I think it's hard to do because I think a lot of these protests are organic. Yes, of course, there's Democrats involved, but there's a lot of people that don't identify as a Democrat or as a Republican, but are very concerned about the direction of this country. And I do agree that, yes, when you're running for office, you need a platform that you're going to actually deliver for your constituents and not just all the reasons to vote against your opponent. Unfortunately, in today's day and age, it's just so much easier to attack and talk about the bad news because it's more attracting. People remember it instead of the positive platform. But I encourage anybody that's running for office, particularly in these local elections as well that are coming up in a couple of weeks, to talk about exactly what you're going to do. And I think the mayoral race in New York City is a good example. Many people that are supporting Zoran Mandami can recite his platform. And it might be simplistic to some, but in many times, a lot of these elections, the electorate can't really tell you what these candidates stand for. And I think that is extremely important, that, yes, there's a lot of concerns with Donald Trump. We can't just say all the problems with Donald Trump. We've got to talk about what we're going to do. And I think a good example here is why the Democrats are refusing to vote for this CR is because they want to talk about the health care premium subsidies that are going to expire, that are going to threaten millions of Americans. Democrats are stepping up, standing up, and actually doing something about it.
Yeah, open enrollment is coming very soon. All right, David Carlucci, really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Good to be with you. Thanks.